guys, and welcome back to Beauty Fortified. My name is Sue. If you're new here, welcome. I make hair care, skincare and makeup videos for the more mature woman. Today I wanted to do something a little bit different. I'm going to do a little chatty get ready with me, and I'm going to talk about all things YouTube. Now, this video was inspired by a couple of videos that I've seen quite recently, specifically with reference to mature beauty YouTubers and the community. And I was watching a video yesterday with a lady. She is in her late 40s and she's got a channel. She's got about 10,000 subscribers, so she's doing quite well. But it was quite a sad video. You know, she was talking about how hard she's worked and how she's just kind of hasn't had any payoff with YouTube. I mean, she is doing quite well, but I'm not sure how long she's been on the platform. But she was just talking about all the downsides. And there are a lot of upsides, but there are a lot of downsides as well. So I thought it would be an idea to make a video just to kind of address a few of those things. So, I mean, this is aimed at people who have really, really small channels like I do. I've only just got over 120 subscribers, so I'm absolutely tiny. Or, you know, it's also aimed at anybody who wants to start a YouTube channel. And even if you are neither of the above, you might just be interested to know a little bit about what goes on behind the scenes. So I have compiled a few questions, a few pertinent questions, and I'm just going to take you through them. And if anything resonates, please let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So the first question is, why did I start a YouTube channel? Well, I had been wanting to do this for a number of years. And the reason why was to find community, to find people who are as interested in makeup and skincare as I am. In my circle of friends, I don't know anybody who is as passionate as I am, or even half as passionate. So I never really had a community that I could bounce things off of, talk to people about makeup, you know, discuss skincare. It's just kind of not a thing in my group. So I really wanted to find a sense of community, and I had been watching beauty channels for a good number of years before I decided to pull the trigger and start one of my own. And I was just really inspired because I wanted to be part of the conversation. I wanted to be a contributor. I have so much to say, and I wanted to find a platform where I could share ideas and there would be a community, a like-minded community, you know, where we could talk about things. So that for me was a big motivation. It took me a long time to finally get to do it because I had a lot of reservations. I had a lot of fear around it. I was worried about what people would think. I thought, you know, my friends and family are going to think I've lost my marbles. You know, I mean, this is just, it's such a silly thing to sit and make videos, and it's quite self-indulgent, and, you know, I mean, they're just going to think I've gone a bit mad. So I eventually got over that fear, and that is one of the big things that holds people back. And I just have to say that if you're thinking about doing it, you just have to do it, because I can tell you that nobody cares. And when I say that, I say it with all the love in the world. I don't say it dismissively, but they don't care in that, you know, it's not their passion, it's not their vibe. So they're not going to judge you. You know, you are going to find your community on YouTube, and it's worth giving it a shot. You know, don't worry about what other people are going to think, because the chances are they're not going to think. So, and, you know, that's what I have found to be true. So that was a big part of pulling the trigger on this and actually finally, you know, doing what I had really wanted to do for such a long time. And my only regret is that I didn't do it sooner. So I let fear hold me back. So I'm going to just carry on applying makeup. I'm not going to really go into what I'm doing, but I will leave all the comments down below, so I don't have to stop and point everything out that I'm putting on my face. So the next question would be, what equipment did I start with? Well, I started with what I had. So I have got an SLR. I'm using a Canon 700D. And I've also used my phone in the early days before I got to grips with how everything works, because it was a huge learning curve, and it still is a huge learning curve. You know, learning the capabilities of your camera, learning the capabilities of video, learning how to edit and all that kind of thing. So I started with what I had, and I did buy a ring light, quite an inexpensive ring light, and I bought a microphone. And the microphone is probably the best investment to date, because you really do need good sound, and I found with my Canon it wasn't really up to scratch, and with my phone as well. So I bought it's a Boya, it's a lapel microphone, and it was about 250 Rand. It wasn't expensive, and it's probably one of the best investments I made. The other thing that I did get, which has been an absolute lifesaver, is a remote control. This has been a big help. So those are the main things that I bought right at the beginning of my channel. Just things that I knew were going to improve the light quality, being my ring light, and obviously the audio. So let's see, how long have you been doing it, and how has your growth been? So in total I've been doing YouTube for about 6 months now. I started a year ago. I started in June of 2019. I did it for 3 or 4 months, and then I took a hiatus. I was distracted. And so I didn't do it for quite a few months. And it was always in the back of my mind to get back into it, but I just kind of never found the time. And so I got back into it during lockdown. So that was probably it was May of this year. So in total, I've probably been doing it about 6 months, if you don't count the months that I was inactive on YouTube. And I've now got 120 subscribers, and it really has been a slow journey in terms of growth. And I can say that it's not a case of input in, input out. What you put in is not what you're going to get out in the short term. YouTube is a hell of a lot of work. It takes up a lot of time. The filming, the editing, it is not a one-day game. If you are going to do this, you need to be in it for the long haul. And then onto subscribers. You know, one of the things that I didn't do when I started my channel was broadcast it to friends. In fact, a lot of my friends don't even know that I'm doing this. I dipped my toe into those waters, and there were a few people that I really thought would be as excited for me as I was in the beginning. And I remember with my first video, I sent it to a handful of friends, probably 5 people. And I think I was lucky if one of them responded. And that was a big lesson for me. And I'll tell you what the lesson was. And it's not that they're not my friends. The lesson there is that, you know, if this is not somebody's vibe, don't subscribe. If it's not your vibe, don't subscribe. I like that. I joined YouTube to find community because I didn't have that community amongst my friends. So expecting them to be excited about making videos was a little bit of a moot point, because that is not what excites them. And it's very nice to get subscribers in the beginning. So it is good. It's lovely to have support of your friends and family, but those are not the people that are going to necessarily be sharing your videos or liking them or commenting on them or even watching them. So you want to build up an organic audience of people that are really going to enjoy your videos and are going to be following you for the right reasons. So my advice in the beginning would be not to take any offense. You know, if people are not supporting you in the way that you feel you would like to be supported, you know, you have to realize that you've got to look at what your reasons were for starting this in the first place. And once I realized that, I was quite fine about it, you know, because those friends are not the friends that I talk to about makeup and skincare, and that is just the way it is. So they are still my friends nonetheless. But that was quite a big wake up. Then talking editing and setup. So I have used a couple of editing programs in the past. I started off using Windows Movie, and I used that for the whole of last year and the first few videos that I did in lockdown. It was the only editing suite that I could use on my PC, and so I used that. Very, very limited capabilities, but it actually kept things quite simple. And then I started using Shortcut, which is a really good, it's quite a sophisticated program. And then one day it just stopped working. And I was really panicking because now I was not quite sure whether it was the computer's memory or whether it was the program. I couldn't figure it out. And the problem is I was on a bit of a roll, so I was making videos and then I kind of came to a standstill. And that can be quite frustrating because you can very easily lose momentum. And I took the computer in and had it looked at and all that. And, you know, I just got to grips with Shortcut. I really knew, I was beginning to learn a lot of the advanced functionality. And then that happened. And anyway, they discovered that it was not the computer, it was the program. So then I had to look for another editing program. And everything that I have used to date has been free. So I've used free editing software, free software to make thumbnails. Everything has been free. I believe there's enough free stuff out there without you having to pay for anything. So I had to start looking around for another free editing software. And I came upon, I did quite a lot of research, and now I'm using Hitfilm Express, which is a little bit less sophisticated than Shortcut, but it's enough to get by on. There is a paid version as well, which I haven't ventured into, but it's a really good one. And a lot of the editing programs are based, they have the basics. The basics are very similar. So once you learn how to work one, you kind of have the basics on which to build if you're wanting to move on to something a bit more sophisticated. But it is hours and hours of learning, getting your head around things, Googling, you know, problem shooting and that kind of thing. So the editing itself, editing a video can also take a really, really long time, especially when you're learning how to edit, how to use the software. So YouTube is a lot of hard work, as I say, for not much reward in the beginning. It really is, you've got to be passionate about this, because if you're not going to survive, and you're going to eventually give up on it. So that is just something to bear in mind. I'm just looking for a lighter shadow that I can put on my lid. So not really, you see, not too prepped for this video. I'm going to use my MAC Kid. So then, yeah, I mean, you know, setting up, also learning, you know, where your camera needs to stand and what works best. I'm very lucky in that I do have a designated filming space, so I don't need to take down everything, put it back up again. So that is quite a bonus. But I try not to move my camera, even to vacuum the carpet, because I'm really worried that if I change anything on the settings, it's going to be, you know, a huge thing to get it back to how it was. So very wary of moving anything. But you know, once you've got your camera settings and you've established what works, then you're halfway there. So it just takes a lot of trial and error. So I have found that. What would your advice be to anyone wanting to start YouTube? Well, the first thing would be not to spend any money. I think do it using what you have. Don't spend any money until you know that you're really sure that this is what you want to do. That would be my biggest piece of advice. And then the second thing is to understand that it's not a one-day game. It's a very slow burn, and you need to be very, very patient. And don't get disheartened when you don't see comments or you don't see views. You need to just hang in there. And this is something that I've learned from all the gurus that I've watched on YouTube, who have channels specializing in how to start a channel. And they all say the same thing. And they all say, just don't give up. And I think right now, where I stand, that would be my advice. You may want to speak to me in another 6 months, see if I still feel the same way. But that would be, if it's something that you really want to do, you've just got to push through, and you've got to realize that it's not always going to be easy. You're going to get a lot of criticism. You are going to get some troll comments. You might not necessarily be supported by friends and family for the reasons that I discussed earlier, not because they don't love you, maybe because sometimes they are afraid, that it's not going to work out, and they're worried. But I think if it really is something that you want to do, my advice would be just to go for it, and not to take anything personally, and just to carry on and lower your expectations. I find that's really helped me quite a bit. I need to every now and again revisit the idea of why I'm doing this. And, when things are not going well, I'm not getting views, I'm not getting subscribers, then I just need to regroup and just, revisit the reasons why I started, which was to become part of a community, which I am part of. And I have met some lovely people on this channel. I've met people from smaller channels who have supported me with the odd comment, have subscribed. It's been amazing. I really have met some lovely people, and I look forward to meeting more like-minded souls. And that is, after all, the reason why I started this. So from that point of view, I think it is worth it, if you want to become part of community. It depends what your motivation is. If your motivation is to, get onto YouTube to make money, I think you need to relook that strategy, because it's very difficult. It's very difficult to get monetized. You need 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 hours of watch time. I mean, that's huge. It really is difficult. So YouTube, it's not easy. It's not a quick fix. It's not a quick money-making racket. It's something that you need to be very passionate about. You need to work at it. You need to have a lot of patience. You need to grow quite a thick skin. And just don't become disillusioned. I think the day that you become disillusioned is probably the day that you need to throw in the towel. So, I think just hang in there would be my advice. And anyone watching, if you don't want to get into YouTube, you just like watching the odd thing, a thumbs up and a comment goes a long way for the YouTuber in terms of getting their video noticed. So just remember that, I always, every time I watch something and I really like it, I automatically just give a thumbs up, because I know how much, a collection of thumbs is going to help the YouTuber. So that's just something to bear in mind if you're just a watcher. And also leave comments, leave positive comments. That also goes a long way, to helping the YouTuber. And so guys, I think that's all I've got to say on that. If you've got any questions, leave them down in the comments below. I can always do a follow-up if you're interested, if there's certain things that I didn't get to answer. I mean, obviously there are many different areas that I haven't gone or haven't delved into, you know, in terms of Instagram and other social media platforms, and bringing them all together in terms of your strategy if you are interested in becoming a creator. And those are things that I'm also really learning at a rate of knots. So there are a lot of things, you know, that go on behind the scenes, and a lot of things that really go hand in hand with making a video. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. Thanks so much for joining me. If you've watched right through to the end, I really appreciate it. And I will see you next time. Ciao, ciao.